Eutrophication comes from the Greek eu plus trophikos, which literally means well nourished. So what does that have to do with environmental science? Well, let's imagine we have here the United States, or some semblance of it. That's a great Texas there. And we have the Mississippi River and all its tributaries. And we are looking at this process, eutrophication. And watershed hydrology tells us a watershed is all of the area, the region that water drains into. So if we're looking at the Mississippi River, we have, I think it's something like 37 different states have rivers or other bodies of water that flow into the Mississippi. So let's just take a look at a farm here. So we have a farm, we have our rows of crops, and the farmers are going to use fertilizers that include things such as phosphate and nitrate, and extra of these will flow eventually into the Mississippi River and then eventually out into the Gulf of Mexico. For instance, this is showing one example, but it can happen on much smaller levels too, like at the LSU lakes. You see the same thing going on. So then algae, especially cyanobacteria, but other kinds of bacteria as well, other kinds of algae as well, will be well nourished off of these extra nutrients that are coming in from the runoff. And then you can develop these algal mats or harmful algal blooms. And this in and of itself can be a problem because it can limit the use of the water for recreation. And if you just look at the LSU lakes right now, they just don't look so very nice. But then things can get worse because then when the algae die, they'll be decomposed. You'll have bacterial decomposition. And this decomposition uses up the oxygen in the water. So it uses up this oxygen that's in the water. And then there's not enough oxygen for the other animals that live in the water. To be able to survive, because cellular respiration depends on having oxygen. The mitochondria need the oxygen for cellular respiration, and if the water does not have enough oxygen, then they cannot carry out cellular respiration, and the animals will die. And this, you can see this, let's see, I've got this picture right here. This is from 2021. NOAA is showing the dead zone in the Gulf of Mexico, and you can see the amount of oxygen. Is the dark red is showing where there's less than 1 milligram per liter of oxygen. And that situation is called hypoxia. And that can be the result of eutrophication.